Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Spit It Out podcast. My name is Eric.
Ashley.
JC.
And Joey.
Welcome back to the Spit It Out podcast, season 2.
Season 2!
It is awesome. It feels great to be back. And, we only took 1 week off, but it felt like forever. Very happy to be back. And, let's just kick things off with a quick recap. Not recap of 2020, but just dealing with 2020 at a mental level. Basically, there's a lot of loss in 2020 with COVID and losing your job. Loss can come in many different ways, not just death. Now, how do you feel like you should cope with that? How do you feel like you should move on from that?
Well, there's different, I don't know, maybe depends on the person, and what kind of things you lost. For me, I lost my dad this year, 2020, but it wasn't because of COVID. Unfortunately, he got an infection when he was gonna get the dialysis.
Mm-hmm.
He got an infection and the hospital didn't let him go back home, And during this, it was in April and May, that was when COVID was hitting here so hard. No one of us was allowed to go to the hospital, And the only person that saw him, it was my brother. And after that, seriously, I never saw him again, because he was cremated, and that's it. Nobody saw the body, again. Around 2019, December and the beginning of 2020, my kids asked me to take him over there. They were like, I want to go see Grandpa. I want to go say hi. I said, yeah, we go. As a human being, always postponing. Now I see as more important things.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, it was like, oh, okay, we'll go whenever we had the time, And I seriously regret it. I told Ashley that I was so stupid because I couldn't go, I just listened to my kids. And seriously, the day that they wanted to go there, we were in Passaic. We were coming out of the church, and my kid was like, come on, let's go, please, let's go see Grandpa. But for me, it was like thinking in my head, like, I gotta go do shopping, I gotta cook for you guys and everything. By the time I got home, it's already 6, 7. I'm gonna be rushing, I gotta put this little girl to bed because I have to take her the next day to school and everything. Those were my thoughts. And seriously, just because thinking like that, I messed it up, And the way I cope with this, it was more the regret than it was hitting me.
Like you wish you could have said goodbye, you could have said,
Yeah. Or at least saw him the last time my kids asked me to take them over there, That was my only regret. But for me, this worked for me too, because when I lost my wife, the way I cope, after the 8 days and she died, I was in my room. I was totally by myself, nobody around. And I started crying, and I remember just getting off the bed, and I was in the corner of the wall, and I just crying. In my head I was like, what the hell I'm gonna do? I never saw myself like a single father. I have a kid, I gotta raise him. I don't know shit. I don't know how to survive by myself, because I was able to do my things for myself. What I mean, like, I didn't know how to budget, I didn't know what to pay, I didn't know other things, It was always like, okay, you're taking care of this, all right.
Mm-hmm.
So also the desperation of my kid, like, what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna show him what is good, what is bad. A lot of things were in my head. And that day, it was a Sunday afternoon, like around 4 o'clock. I went to shower and I cleaned out my eyes and everything. I put some eye drops, and I remember going to my sister-in-law and say, I'm gonna let Vincent with you for a couple hours, I'll be back. And she's like, are you okay? I said, yes. And I just got out of the house and I started, just took a walk. It was literally a hike because it was over like 20 miles. I just continued walking and walking and walking. I come back home around like 9 o'clock in the night or 10, something like that. And during that walk, in my head I was like, all right, what are the situations that are outside of your life? And I started thinking about it, Okay, raising the kid. You're gonna have to find a new place. You're gonna have to literally work for yourself to do these things. All right? Who's on your side that is gonna help you? Literally no one. You're gonna have to put the money. You're gonna have to do all the work. How you gonna do this? Play by ear, day by day. Don't stress out. You got this. She show you a lot how you wanna get out of this. She prepare you. Just don't fail. And during that walk, I came back home and I felt new. And I'm ready for it. And that's what I did also when my dad died. I just went outside. I took a run. And during that run, I was like, forgive me. I wasn't there. I was so stupid. I couldn't listen to my kids to go see you, but I didn't do it. I love you, and I wish I could give you another kiss on your cheek and hug you, but I couldn't, and I didn't. But someday, hopefully, that our beliefs are, I'm gonna meet you again, I'm gonna love you forever. And that's what I did.
There's something remarkable about that, although I don't do it as much as I used to, but taking a walk, a bike ride, whatever, to get yourself out of the house, but you don't have to commit to something other than just moving. Something kind of relaxing and gets your mind to open up a bit more than just sitting at home and trying to reflect on it there.
Yeah, because it feels different, even though you're depressed or whatever, you see other people, You see cars, you see sounds, you see everything. So that's what I did. And other things like that was my big loss, because besides that, this year I cannot complain. But that's how I cope with my father's loss. It wasn't because of COVID. It was a natural death.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it was gone.
I'm glad to hear that it wasn't COVID related, and I know that there are plenty of the death toll from last year is definitely not absent of those cases.
Yes.
I've lost both of my grandparents last year
I'm sorry.
at basically bookends of the year. My grandfather lost him in April, and my step grandmother technically, but Christmas Eve. So that's very tough for the other side of the family with that. It was surprising to us about my grandfather because we knew that my step grandma they were living together for a while. They were married for about 13 years. I've heard a lot of good memories from my mom, from my aunts and uncles about how she was as their mother, but as my stepmother or a step grandmother, I embraced her just like a grandma. I didn't think much of it, and she was still very kind. She was still very understanding. She would listen to everybody. She had a lot of good one-liners. She was good on her good quips, good on her feet, keeping the energy going with the family. And it's the good thing about my mom's side was they know how to bounce off of each other very well, even though there's a ton of people in the room. So we had already known for a while that she was starting to get on the decline mentally. Like she wasn't remembering certain things. And my grandpa was doing the best that he could to treat for that, to be aware of those things, if necessary, get one of us over to assist with something. Kind of by surprise for him, he went down first because he had some incident, again, not COVID related. Next thing we knew, he was in the hospital. 2 weeks later, he wanted to come back home. He got to see some of his family, and then he was out. He like almost right in front of my mom, her sister, a couple other people from my mom's side of the family.
So he died in front of
It
everybody?
just went, yeah.
Wow.
So I unfortunately didn't see him for almost a month, I want to say, before he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And because of complications with COVID, this was during April. The best way they were told that we could have buried him. We couldn't have a wake, but we sort of had a funeral. It was still taking everyone by car or several cars, driving up to the cemetery, but we couldn't go in the cemetery itself.
Mm-hmm.
Even couldn't stay in the cars and drive in.
Mm-hmm.
Only one member of our family could go in, and that was my uncle, who went in with the hearse for basically a private send-off with all blessings and everything. And the only thing I got to see was just from the car window, the hearse was driving away on the hill into the cemetery. Jump cut to later in the year. My step-grandmother was taken out of that house. We sold the house, split between the families, and and she stayed back with her original family.
Okay.
They was taking good care of her. They got an aide to make sure if they had to be out, then the aide would take care of her. I got to see her. I didn't get to see her in person at any time this year. The only time I got to see her was through, I think, the WhatsApp, one of the, like a video chat kind of thing, to briefly talk with the family and her, maybe half an hour at most. So before things went down in 2020, any of the times I got to see my grandparents, I'd still treat them with respect. I'd try to be affectionate with them. Sometimes the hugs would be a little closer during family occasions, things like that. But I felt a little bit lost on the fact that I couldn't get to see her through 2020 and did not know she was gonna go away by that point. I had a feeling that yes, it was still going to be on the decline for a while, but had no idea when that was going to be. And then I was only told after Christmas itself, after all the celebrations, that she had passed. So that way it didn't disturb anything that was going on, and I think it was probably for the best. For that one, I think conditions were a little bit better because we were able to drive into the cemetery. We were able to meet under a gazebo, but with masks and still keeping apart from each other. Still was able to hear from many people, especially from her side of the family, what she meant to them. And my mom was also thanked for that because she was a big support for her up to that point when things started to go haywire. And that kind of gave me an opportunity right after, once she was taken care of, it gave me an opportunity to go through, because in the same cemetery was where my grandfather was buried.
Okay.
So I got to find his grave, say a prayer, and think for a moment as I saw in the, because I've seen it before, and now it's like, oh, there's a new inscription, it's all filled in, and he's with his original wife.
Yeah, I think I don't know, but the way it sounds for me, everybody who lost someone, the regret that you have in your heart is because you couldn't see them.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't really, say goodbye. You can really go to the place where they're resting,
Yeah,
because you seriously, it hits you,
definitely.
Like, one of those stuff, like, because everything changed, and those
Mhm.
kind of aspect, they carry like more important things, It's not just like going to party. This is not a party, This is a gathering where you gonna cope with your family, like, for
Mhm.
the loss.
That-
This is
that-
totally different.
That's the tough thing
Yes,
about it with 2020 is that normally you would want to get together with other people to console together, but because of a lot of restrictions and a lot of fair reasons to keep apart,
Yes.
it's not an easy thing to take care of. I've done my personal thing and tried to remember as many things as possible, all different kinds of memories, no matter how small, with each of them. Things would be so simple as like, oh, I see a decaf Diet Coke can, because I remembered that when my grandpa would babysit me, he'd have them in the fridge. Simple, but it reminds me of different times spent with him.
Yeah, dealing with loss is tough. I mean, even if you witness and see that their time clock is ticking, and it's like, okay, I can see them maybe about a year. I can see it happening within a year or 2 years, and you like mentally brace yourself for it. But then when it happens, you're still not ready, no matter how much you mentally prepare for it. Luckily for me, in 2020, I personally didn't lose anybody, which I'm grateful for. The most recent funeral type thing that I had to deal with was freshman year of college, Christmas break. The family dog passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not a person,
Pets are still important.
But
They're still family.
but man's best friend, your puppy, your little bro. When he went, I was so mad because I was planning on coming home, seeing him, because as a family we're like, we're gonna go put him down together.
Mhm.
He was, I think 11 or 12 years old. He had bone cancer, so obviously we weren't gonna keep him around, let him suffer. So we're gonna put him down.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna take a bus back. My dad was gonna pick me up. I was gonna spend the whole day with him, and then the next day we would do it as a family. But the man above had a different idea. So that night I was packing to come home. My dad called me and said, "Hey, I got bad news. Bernie was the dog. Broke his leg because the cancer just got to it and it broke.
Oh, wow.
And they put him down that night.
Wow.
And I just sat in my dorm room. I was like, yo, fuck Christmas. I was so mad. I think I punched the closet door. That's besides the point. I was really upset. And my dad let me talk to him on the phone and said what I had to say. And then when the ashes were collected and sent to us, we did a little funeral type thing in my backyard. And till this day, I still regret not being there. But, control what you can't control,
Yes.
But coping with this, coping with loss, whether it's a family member, whether it's human or pet, I think the best way to do it is to live on with their legacy, If it wasn't for my grandparents being the great people that they are, my dad or my mom wouldn't be who they are. And then their beliefs, morals, ethics passed down to me. So I believe a part of me is always going to have a part of my grandparents, my parents, and so forth. So I think if it's easier said than done, but if you try to stay positive and try to, recollect all the good memories, all the happy memories, that'll help keep you going. So you know what? They lived a great life. They touched many people in a positive manner. I want to live like them. I want to have a positive impact like them. And maybe that can help you move on and cope with it. And then, over time, it's going to heal, but it definitely takes time for sure.
That's a good way to look at it.
So for me, 2020, I had one sort of like two losses, but I believe it's like two losses. So in May 26, I lost my dog of 10 years old. He had a lot of complications. We took him to the hospital because he was vomiting like nonstop, and like it wasn't stopping. Like it was a few days in, and I was just trying to see, like, I was like, okay, like I fasted him just to see if he gets better, to like see if it was the food or something, because we recently changed their dog food and all dogs were throwing up. So I was like, all right, it's the food. So he continued to throw up as the other two already were done. And I was just like, okay, like let me give it another day. And I called the vet, and they told me to just fast him, just give him water, and see, usually he should be fine. So I was like, okay. So I didn't feed him, and it was just nonstop. He was just vomiting. So I called Eric that day, and no, I didn't call Eric. Yes, I did. I got out of work, and I called Eric, and we went to the vet. And it was $3,000. And honestly, I don't put a price, like if I have it especially, but I just hate that vets don't, like, let me pay it later. Like, I just want to fix my dog now. Like, they need the money first before, like, handling him. So that was, like, really annoying. So I maxed out everything for the dog. So I was hoping he was in good hands. And they called me and they said, hey, like, he has to be here a few more days. It was $3,000 a night. I gave him everything I had. And I was just like, and they're like, and he has to do outcare patient stuff. And they're like, his kidneys are failing. He's diabetic. He has heart problems. Like, Jesus Christ. I was just like, I don't know what else to do. And they're like, look, we suggest, putting him to sleep. I was like, you could have told me that before, so I could mentally prepare myself. But, I just told them, I was like, okay, like, and I came back at 3 a.m. And I don't want him to suffer anymore. I didn't want him to suffer in the hospital or die there, like, without me saying my goodbye and stuff. And I got to say my goodbye, and Vincent's, JC's son, he was there with me because of COVID. So, like, so JC couldn't say his goodbyes either. It was just, which really sucked, because I wanted us to all say goodbye and maybe bring the dogs. And, so I dealt with that. It was pretty hard to deal with because he was 10 years old, and he was going to be 10 a week later from when he died. So it was pretty hard because usually when I had a dog pass, I was always like, I'm not gonna get another one. I'm not gonna get another one because I hate the heartbreak after. But I still do it because they make me happy and stuff. So eventually, a few months later, we got a dog temporarily. Her name was Stormy, and the guy couldn't keep her anymore. And this dog was very loved, and you can tell he couldn't keep her anymore because of his living situation. And I told him, listen, if anything gets better for you, like, you can take your dog back. And a week later, he found a place that would take him with the dog. So I had her for a week, but the dogs were depressed because the loss of the dog as well. So she really like brought joy, and yeah, now we have Jade. But dealing with that, I did cry a lot. I feel like when I lose a pet, it's like a really big cut on my chest because it hurts because basically I don't really have family like that. So for me, it's like a loss of a family member. And recently, I've had to deal with a different circumstance where it's sort of a loss. So me and my mom do not speak anymore. And on the week of Christmas, she tried to commit suicide. And I found out at work. And she didn't succeed. She's home. The day of her birthday was the 19th of December. So, I said, happy birthday and everything. And she blocked me on everything. Oh, wait, hold on. I want to talk about this.
You don't have to talk about it.
I need a minute. Hold on. I need a minute.
You don't have to talk about this. You know that, right?
I know. But it's okay. Okay. Long story short, we're not talking anymore, and I had to numb myself when I heard the news, because I felt like my whole world was,
Do you have water? You want some water?
okay.
It's okay. My bird is not good enough for you.
If I make the tears stop, I can calm down. Okay. Okay, yeah. So, I felt like my whole world was falling apart, and it was sort of hard to deal with because we didn't end on good terms. So, knowing that anytime she leaves, I won't get that goodbye, the proper goodbye. So. Yeah, it sucks. But I had to learn how to cope with it because it could have destroyed me, but I wasn't going to let it. I just try to think of all the good times and stuff. So just tell people you love, you love them every day. And that's it.
Look, I can edit all that out. Like, I don't want you to think like we need that for the material at all.
No, it's okay.
I'm not even joking. I might even just take it out myself.
Just go from the dog story and keep it there.
I stop it at the dog story because that's something that's still fresh, and obviously it's still affecting you, and I don't want the whole world to know that part. So I'll take it out.
Well, that's good. You want to talk about it? So
If you want to talk
it out, yeah.
among us, that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
You want to talk
Yeah.
about it? Just
like, we all love you, and obviously I'm borderline in tears right now because I feel so bad for you. But yeah.
yeah. And the reason I think also she like, well, it affect you because I was there when she got the news and everything, but also she didn't went down because we were at work. So
It wasn't the kind of thing that she could go away from.
Like get away, like going to the room or going to one place, like run. So I guess like that day she just had to be at work, like everything,
Yeah.
getting
It
things
was
on.
almost like she had to just say, "Suck it up, I gotta work."
Yeah, I gotta work.
She didn't get that moment to like take a breath, like process it all. She just had to like push it aside, get to work, get it done.
Yes. You see, like I said before, everybody copes different, not everybody is gonna do the same thing that you do.
But yeah, that's tough. I mean, whether losing a pet, family member, like I said for myself, you always have to try to keep a part of them with you to help you understand like that's because of them, that's who I am. Because of my parents, that's who I am. And move on. Not move on, but like understand like my legacy, my life is a part of them, even though they're not here.
Yes.
A lot of people that are close to me know that I'm not very religious, but I have this Jesus chain. And when my grandpa passed away when I was 8, I put the chain on because it was from my grandparents, my dad's parents, and I've never taken it off since. It's more of a sentimental value to think like, oh, they're here with me, right? Watching me.
Right.
It's not like, oh, religion, this. I'm not gonna get into that, but it means a lot to me because it's from them.
No, it means something to you, because it was a souvenir from them, It's like me. It might sound crazy or whatever, but I still have things from my wife. I kept her purse that she loved. I even have things I bought her. Like shoes. Then because that day, I don't know. You see, she used to love than for me to just go to any place and buy her something for her. She loved gifts, and every time I ask her like, why you get so excited? She was like, because at that moment you were thinking of me. So when she passed away, and I saw all those shoes, all the things I bought her, I was like, you were right. I was thinking about you, and I kept them,
Yeah.
Even when I moved in with Ashley, I was like, hopefully you don't bother. And she said, no, those are your things, those are yours. And I still have them, and
Yeah.
and that's why also I always tend to life and to God, like, because when she passed away, I was like, let me find someone that is gonna take me how I am, is gonna love my kids, is gonna respect them, is gonna educate them, and he's always gonna be there. And here it is,
Yeah, for sure.
next to me.
And it's crazy because like you never know. On my motivational videos on Instagram, I always say, when you wake up, it's a blessing of its own. You never know when your time card is punched and that's it.
That's it, yes.
Or even just to see when things turn for the worse.
You never know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure all the people in 2020 got COVID didn't plan that they're gonna get COVID. They didn't plan,
Yeah.
they're gonna get really sick and have to be stuck in hospitals and not have their loved ones with them when they're, flatlining. And it's tough. There's no other word to describe it. It's just a difficult, shitty situation. But that's why I try to, like, I'm not perfect. I do, neglect some phone calls. Sometimes I don't want to hear it. Sometimes my dad calls like, I can talk to him tomorrow, and after the whole 2020 thing, it was actually I'll get back to this because we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions. But realizing that life is precious. One day you're not going to get that phone call that says dad on it or mom on it, and you're going to be like, oh, fuck. I wish I answered that one time. I wish, when my grandma called and I was at work, I would have answered. It takes 2 seconds. Hey, I'll be right back. Let me talk to this person. But yeah, so I just mentioned New Year's resolutions. But before we get to that, how was everyone's New Year?
Actually, also it was kind of funny, because Ashley was talking about all the around this TV show Netflix that was gonna land the exams of the office, off the air and everything. When we realized it was already 12:02, and I'm like, it's 12:02. Oh, Happy New Year! Just like that, like seriously, we were watching that thing the TV show, we were so into we didn't even pay attention to the time.
I love that show.
Yeah, it was
I love that show.
Also, a happy belated birthday to Eric because Eric is a New
happy
Year's
birthday.
baby.
Thank you.
So,
I'm old now. I'm
what did you
25.
do?
Everyone
for your
around the world
birthday?
celebrates his birthday and they don't even know it.
Yeah. So, what did you do for your birthday /
New Year's Eve. So it's quite a story. I don't know. The day before my good friend Max, who I intend to have on the show at some point. But he texted me and said, if you want to come by for New Year's Eve, you're more than welcome. And I'm like, I want to, but that's a long ass drive to Boston. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. Let me go. I'll go. So I said, yeah, I'll be there. So I drive to Boston, and there's a little bit of a speed bump right out of the gate. My debit card, I got a text from Chase saying got some fraud or whatever, so I declined the card, or canceled the card. I didn't have a card, and I wasn't able to use my credit card, debit card for anything. And I realized I only have 30 miles left in the tank. And I was fuck, what am I going to do? So I called Ashley, and she declined my call immediately. And then she texted me, I'm at work. I'm like, oh, all right, my bad. And then I called.
You could have fucking texted me.
You weren't home to get me cash.
Oh, wait, what? I thought you were already in Boston when this happened.
No.
Okay.
So I called JC, and I was like, are you home? He's like, yes. And I'm like, awesome. Can I borrow $60 and I'll Venmo you right now? So I Venmoed them the money. They gave me cash. So I get gas, and I drive to Boston. And when I get about 5 minutes from his apartment, I made a wrong turn, and the 5 minutes turned to 15 minutes.
Oh, I hate that.
And I'm like, where the fuck am I? And I'm just driving down the streets of downtown Boston, no idea where I'm going. And the GPS is like, it helps, but sometimes that like little tiny turn doesn't really show.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so I get to his apartment. It's a beautiful apartment, and right out of the gate, we start playing beer pong. All right, playing pong. I beat him 2 games. He won 1. And I brought with me Crown Royal Apple, and I had lemonade. Delicious. Recommend it. If you're 21 and over, I recommend it. And drank that. Had champagne, beers, and then 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. You know, called my parents, my sister, my grandma, everyone to wish them a happy New Year. And then had a cigar with him and took a walk around Boston. It was a good time.
Nice.
And then next day, just kind of did a little more sightseeing. Well, I call it COVID sightseeing because you kind of just walk past things. You don't really like have a tour or actual.
That is true.
But the thing that I admire so much about the city of Boston is the history.
There's a lot of good history there.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Like I saw the Paul Revere house, like where he lived. I stood in the exact spot of the Boston Massacre, which is crazy to think like, yo, fucking people died right here, you know?
Yeah, seriously.
And saw Fenway Park, and then, you know, drove home, and then it started pouring, and I could barely see when I was driving home, so, but I made it.
Yeah.
It's a good time. It's a good time. And going back to, you know, spending time with people that you care about, I'm happy I went. I wasn't going to go just because I was being lazy and didn't want to drive for 3.5 hours. But it was worth it. Fun trip. Enjoyed it. And then the next day, hung out with my sister and brother-in-law. So it was good.
That is good.
So for you, then you have fun over there, you know? Yeah, that was a good day.
It was fun.
That was a good day for you, bro.
Luckily, I had the opportunity to go to Boston in, I think, August of 2020. I already made sure with 2 friends of mine that we were going to meet there. One already lives near Boston. Another one lives in Connecticut. And we were going to meet up there because it was like, hey, we want to get together anyways. It was going to start out as a surprise, but it just turned into, you know what, we're going to plan this. We're going to hang out. We're going to tour around the city, and we did enjoy that. We were all made sure checked out. Everyone's good, safe and everything. But again, a lot of the history that's there, a lot of beautiful architecture. I forget the name of the gardens themselves, but it was like a wonderful thing to walk through, different sides of it, all different setups, little areas to sit. So I definitely get that for, you know, taking an opportunity like that. That was a trip that took me almost 3 tries to make happen.
Yeah, Boston's a phenomenal city. Cold as shit, though. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
It was only 38, 39 degrees, but because you're near the water, the wind,
The wind, yeah.
it felt like 20. I was
catches up.
dying, but it was fun. Moving on to our topic, it's, you know, New Year's resolutions. How do you feel about that? Like, do you think they're good? Do you think it's almost social conditioning where New Year's, everyone's posting about New Year's resolutions, and like, you know, you feel like you're obligated to do something as well just to hop on the wave? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. For me, I don't think it's obligated, you know? For me. in my case, because whatever are your New Year's resolution, whatever it is, like, I don't know, get it better financially, or pay all your debt, or start your new business, or learn a new hobby, or get well in your health, whatever it is your resolution. I think the for me, like, because everything starts new, a new year, and you get so excited because you hear all over the news feeds and everything. Okay, so we're gonna start this and that. So always in your head, back in your head, is always okay. I need to start something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're hiding from some other people or whatever. But you never have the courage to start. So that's what you start doing. Unfortunately, 95% of the people is always gonna fail. Always is gonna be just the 5% of the people is like, okay, I gotta do it, because at that moment probably you've been preparing all these years, like you said before. I started doing this on 2019 and now 2020, and right now I'm going stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So that's different. He's been preparing. But people like, and also I see, like, again, socially condition, everything,
Mm-hmm.
like it's starting like getting you down. And this is one thing, also. Many people do things through motivation. Let me tell you this, motivation is shit. Doesn't work. I've been there. I've been that road. See? What it works is really the desire and the love that you start getting from for that hobby or whatever you want to do. Once you start into the love and the desire, you just do it. Seriously.
It's when you
And
feel it.
and you just start doing it. It doesn't matter who's gonna stop you. You start going, going, and going, and going, and going, and you start enjoying it. But there's nothing wrong with being human. There's nothing wrong with starting something and let it, die or whatever. Because from that moment, you learn something. Whatever it was, whatever you did during that process, you did something. And that thing is gonna, little by little, like the things that Joe does, the Lego.
Mm-hmm.
He loves it and everything. You just put it in pieces, little by little, little by little, and all of a sudden, it's gonna sink.
This is what I think. I actually agree with you like 100%. I feel like don't do a New Year's resolution unless you feel like you're ready for it. Like, don't do it just because social media and everyone's doing it. Oh, I got
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Because it's not an authentic, genuine reason to do it. So you're gonna do whatever your goal is for 2-3 weeks, and then you're gonna fail because you're like, yo, fuck this, it's too difficult. I see person A achieving like leaps and bounds and looking great. Here I am, I don't look like that, and whatever. So I feel like your New Year's resolution doesn't have to be on New Year's. I feel like whenever you mentally believe that, okay, I genuinely want to change this aspect of my life, I'm ready for it. When you desire it, when you really want it, then it will happen.
Right.
But I feel like you don't have to do it just because everyone else on social media is doing.
I think I get why it's a thing, why New Year's resolutions are celebrated and people try to get into the mindset on January 1st. It's easy to factor in your head. Okay, the end of the calendar, now we got a new calendar, now we got a new date. Now I can try to think of it differently.
Yes.
But I do agree with both of you. I do believe that your resolution doesn't have to be January 1st. It could be July 1st. It could be October 28th. Any date of the year that you feel personally ready to do something different is when, and that's going to carry you further than because everybody says you need to do it this date.
Because you told me to.
Because it told me to. Exactly. It's the kind of thing that you know for yourself. You want to get this done. You're going to put whatever effort you need to get in whatever resources or other people who are needed to make this happen, and it will happen. If you're only saying it like, oh, I could really do with less chocolate in my diet, or you don't think it through as much, or you don't think of it as this is something I'm really striving for. This is what I'm passionate about. It's not going to work. It's not a thing that you're going to continue with you. Keep in your mindset like I'm sticking to this. This is important to me. This is for something better. As JC was doing before, I said for my YouTube channel, I've been slagging on the kind of materials that I use for videos or the editing processes that I go through just to get a video out there, just to feel like I'm engaging when it's not my best work. And I know what my best work is because it's something that I will I will watch again, or I will share it as, hey, this is what will be good for people to watch. A whole bunch of it in between you could skip. And recently I just put out every year I try to put out a recap video. This year I did 2019 and 2020 because I didn't feel it in 2019. I didn't want to throw myself into an obligation that I wasn't ready for, and I decided, you know what, this is actually better to do 2019 and 2020 because it gave me a lot more respect now with COVID and quarantine and everything, what I had before.
Whether it's New Year's resolution or a certain time in your life where you're ready to grow positively, do baby steps. Like I've done it so many times where I'm excited to eat healthier or work out more that I overdo it the first week, 2 weeks, and I just feel burnt out and it's too difficult, and I just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm not doing it. So I'll give you 2 personal examples. First one is I wanted to up my cardio, get healthier, run more, and whatever. So I went to the best runner I know, JC, okay? And I was like, I'll go run with you every day. I'm ready to change my life for the better. First day was 10 fucking miles, okay? And I didn't even run the 10 miles. I biked it. And I've talked about the story in the past already, but it was awful and I've never ran since. Another one is where I'll try a keto diet or something to, be healthier in as far as the foods I eat.
Right.
And I would go so extreme with it where I'll cut everything out that I enjoy. And now I'm just miserable because I'm like, how do you eat healthy? This is so difficult. And then I overdo it. Like I do one cheat meal and I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'm not doing it. And I stop.
Yeah.
So my best advice is from my personal experiences, try to do baby steps. For example, eating healthier. I like red meat. I like chicken. I like, all that. I like fast food. So what I'd say is maybe, say for the fast food example, say every other day you go McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, okay? Maybe take out Burger King for that week, but still do Wendy's and McDonald's. And then after 2 weeks, then take out Wendy's. Now it's just McDonald's. And then you get my point. That way it's not a shock to your system, whether it's a physical shock from working out or a physical shock from what you're used to eating.
Right.
Just do it in baby steps, and then in the long run, you will achieve your goal. You have to learn how to crawl, walk, and then run. Not just like me, run 10 miles and say, fuck it, I'm done.
I've been told so many times when trying to get on a new path to start with baby steps, and I do agree with that because you're gonna get acquainted a little bit more with what you're doing, and it's gonna mean more than trying to go to step 10 when you haven't even reached 1 through 9.
I feel like New Year's is like a reset on all the things you didn't do during the year prior. And I feel like it's sort of like giving yourself hope again on trying. So when people do it, I try not to make them feel bad and stuff because it's really hard to break old habits, and it's really hard to try to do something new because something wasn't working out for you or something that you feel that isn't achievable. With me, I feel like because I wasted a lot of time back in the day, I feel like I just now, if I want something, I'm gonna try to get it. I'm no longer I would like to try, maybe in the future I'll try that. I'll just sort of try to make it happen now kind of stuff, not impulsively in a sense. With health, I love being healthy, but due to hormone issues and stuff that I'm going through, it hasn't been really that good. But I feel like if you're dieting, definitely take baby steps. Right now on my Instagram, I'm doing a Veganuary for people who are trying to become vegans or vegetarians or more plant-based. And I was just I'm already a vegan, so how can I one up this? And it's basically raw veganism where I don't drink anything, I don't eat anything processed or drink anything processed. I don't drink caffeine. I have a really bad thing with sugar. It's not even intense where I'm eating loads of sugar a day. It's if I'm buying myself a coffee or something, I make it super sweet. Like if I eat Sour Patch Kids, because I can have that as a vegan, I'll eat a bag. But
right.
Or yeah, but it's not like I'm like drinking soda kind of stuff. But like if I'm at work, I drink like a whole bunch of Arnold Palmers or like a whole bunch of lemonades and apple juices, and barely drink water. So like that's like my one issue with sugar. But I feel like you should any little step is a change to the right direction, and you shouldn't be hard on yourself, because I'm not one of those crazy vegans that will like try to make you feel bad about you eating meat and stuff. Like I wasn't born a vegan, so I can't go and ridicule you for eating the way that you're eating, like people eating the way that they're eating. So I feel like you randomly just doing like a meatless Monday, or you decided not to eat meat today, you just wanted to have like vegetarian options, or you switch to like almond milk or soy milk or something, like little giving yourself little goals, and like any little just praising yourself for doing something like a very minor helps you keep going to like the right direction, I feel like. And like don't be hard on yourself, like you're human, and it usually gets easier. Like the less hard you are on yourself, like you'll actually be able to achieve a lot of goals, because we're all human, and I think that we're all trying the best that we can.
Yeah, that's true.
And don't downplay the successes. To say like, hey, I've already made it a week. You know, this is a good thing.
Yeah,
This is one more week than could have been before.
Yeah.
And it's true, you know, step by step, it gets you further, you know, because when I started running, also I did it because I was quitting all my bad habits, you know, so for me, I needed to fill up that time. And also when I started more into the fitness thing, working on my body and everything, at the beginning, also, I was dying. You know, I remember the first time I did 100 burpees. It took me over an hour, and my heart and my lungs were burned, seriously. And there was like, wow, this is so hard, you know. And I started conditioning my body little by little, doing things day by day, you know. There was times that I was really, I just want to throw the towel, but in my head it was like, okay, do when you quit your bad addictions. Where do you want to see yourself in 1 month? Where do you want to see yourself in 2 months? In 1 year? In 2 years? In 3 years? The time is gonna go by. Might as well just do things. Little by little, see? Like right now also I'm struggling on my way of eating, alright? And my head is like, okay, you've been eating like this for 42 years. You're not gonna like snap your fingers and gonna say, oh now I'm eating perfectly. No, you're not. Like Eric said, you know, start getting these things off your menu, you know.
Yeah.
Start going like putting these extra things on your menu, you know, and you're gonna achieve the things that you want. Because really, all of us we know, and we prove of that. Things step by step, you're gonna go the long way.
Yeah.
And it is true. It is true.
I mean, that's basically how the podcast started. We didn't pick it for January 1st. We didn't have a specific, you know, there wasn't a resolution for it. We wanted to make it happen. Once we got the materials together, we said, hey, let's start testing this out. Let's try moving, you know, talking amongst each other, and then actually getting the episodes out. What date was that?
October 18th.
There you go.
18.
That's a date that's important to us. It's not like a specific, already established date, but now we make it something.
It's the birthday of Spit It Out.
And we've been,
October 18th.
October 18th, 2020.
and with every week, we're always trying something different. We're trying to expand upon it, and now we're in season 2. We can get even further than we've done before.
I don't know if you guys heard about this. I know I didn't until an hour and 16 minutes ago. This UFO sighting. Talk about like a crazy 2021 event thing.
Everyone mark that on their bingo calendars.
It's like Jumanji Part 2.
It's
like, welcome to 2021, worse than last year.
Because
I
don't want it to be a sequel.
Yeah.
Because we all know the sequel's usually worse than the original.
Yeah, right.
So,
A lot of times. But people, I know people joked about that through 2020 about like who had this on their bingo calendar or
yeah.
who had this on their leaderboard. You know what? We were waiting on the UFO sighting.
Yeah. So the rumor is, or the news is that
Wait, what was that? You said rumor?
no,
So it's not real.
it's real. It's real. You fuck. It was on the news. I wanted to read the title before I like said it wrong and then I get fucking canceled. So it said a mysterious blue UFO was spotted over Hawaii, and they said that it went into the ocean and stuff, and a whole bunch of people recorded it and sent it to the news site, and then they looked. There was no aircraft flying. There was no nothing was reported like that there was any aircraft flying at the time or anything, or anyone was missing or anything. So, what do you feel about maybe seeing aliens?
Nope.
Wow, what does that mean? No.
No,
You
no,
don't want to see
here.
aliens, or you think they don't exist?
Explain yourself.
Out of all the
Tell me your thoughts.
out of
about
all the conspiracy theories and spiritual crazy stuff, supernatural stuff, aliens is the only thing that I
Do you believe him?
do believe in to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe what gives us the right to be the only life force in this universe. Okay?
Right?
But you always hear like aliens are like intelligent life forms, are smarter than us, blah blah blah. So I'm thinking to myself like, well, why would they come here if they're smarter than us? Like, are they wasting their time
to educate you.
No, to educate us.
To
educate us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or
Or to
classless.
kill us.
Yeah.
I
To
mean-
make us slaves,
I mean,
peasants.
we have a lot of smart people. We have a lot of intelligent people, but we haven't been able to travel that far, like
I
in
can't wait to
space.
flex and be like, oh, sorry, on vacation in Mars.
Yeah, seriously.
Once
In
we get that,
transportation.
yeah.
To Mars.
They'll be like, oh, I'm not going to another country. I'm going to
Right.
another planet.
Yeah,
Imagine the price that they're gonna, the inflation prices.
I'm going to Disney World Jupiter.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, like, with all these movies and shows, like Marvel with this time travel and space jumping or whatever,
Mhm.
got Star Trek, Star Wars, the imagination these people have to create these universes to make it seem as realistic as possible is
Yeah.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another area that I think, like, what gave them that thought to put these things, like in Star Wars, all these different galaxies, and have them be able to be almost like a community of its own where you can travel to each one and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention
It could
all the
be
different
Hollywood.
cultures.
Or some people say, oh, it's aliens that gave them the idea to give us an idea that this is what we look like or whatever. Anyway, it's all fake. Mic drop.
What do you guys feel?
I'm thinking about other previous sightings that we've never really had like a conclusion to it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of that's weird in the sky for a blip of a moment.
Yeah.
So you believe that Area 51 has an alien?
Yeah.
Well, Area
Area 51
I
has
believe.
all of America's dirty secrets. Like, I feel like most places. Like, most monuments and stuff, and like the White House and all that stuff, that's all full of like its own dirty little secrets that we're not allowed to know about. You know what I mean? And
I don't know if I could say on Area 51 itself or on the sci-fi supernatural aspect of it, but I do believe yes, there are things that officials will know they don't leak to the public yet for whatever reason. Maybe you need to investigate it more, maybe it's dangerous, whatever the case may be. I mean, you have things like that. There are proven things about that through history. That's like, okay, we're gonna censor this. We're not going to publish this, widely, because it might be too much to handle. I mean, there's the atomic bomb testings. That's the first case of it. It's like, okay, we're doing this in secret. We're going to experiment, see if this is practical, if we can actually make this happen. Then use it to unnecessary means, but still,
Unnecessary.
excessive means. That's the word I was looking for.
also, the new COVID bill includes a 180-day countdown for Pentagon to make the UFO disclosures because Donald Trump established America's Space Force and he gave them 180 days. That's what I was talking to you about.
Oh, yeah, the Space
So
Force.
it is. We have till the summertime. It's
Right.
crazy that like a few days ago the new stuff for the COVID bill came out, and then all of a sudden we see a UFO all over Hawaii. So I don't think that's coincidental, and I think that if aliens are real and they do come down and stuff, and hopefully we could coexist, and it's not like we all try to attack them, and they're like, "Bitch, I could kill you with like." Just like a snap and fucking the whole place is disintegrated. Like,
This one, it's tough. These are so complex events. You know, whether it's conspiracy theories, like COVID, like all that. And for example, with COVID, I've seen and heard people talk about. You ever see like airplanes, like the clouds that the cloud, the trail, the cloud
Skyriders.
trail? They're like, oh, that's not clouds. That's the government releasing chemicals in the air to release whatever. And it's like, really, like, come on. I'm very skeptical about this stuff.
All right, so for you to believe something, you need the proof. You need to
I
hold
have
it.
to see it myself.
You need to see it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So.
I swear to God, if I wake up tomorrow morning and there's an alien next to me, I'll fucking shit myself. I tell you that right now.
All right, Joe. You can take off the costume now.
All right, Joe, you're funny. Joe walks in. He's like, what? I'm
He's like, what?
okay, it's Ashley and Juan. We both come up. What?
Huh?
Yeah.
Same thing with like, possessions and people ghost and items moving and stuff like that. Technology, this is what I think. Technology these days, anyone can edit videos, make things look a certain way.
Well, that's right now. But what happened back in the day? Because this comes from centuries. This is not just right now. See?
You can
There's
edit,
stories
a
and everything.
video to make it look
So you're
old.
telling me,
We're talking about decades earlier
decades.
of sightings.
like in the
of-
80s, because there's books where they describe all these things, like,
Listen, there's
Things from
even
other
in
things.
hieroglyphics and stuff.
Mhm.
Like when I went to
Yeah.
Egypt, you see like in the hieroglyphics, like there's these things coming from the sky, and like
Sunlight.
no, bitch, they look like
no,
literal.
it looks
they look like
literally-
spaceships,
yeah,
and like if you look
spaceships,
at pictures through history, like, and people claim seeing these things in the air, they all have the same common UFO look, and obviously, like, I feel like I know they're real. I feel like they're real, and I feel like I know they're real.
It's like you say, it's common sense, What makes us unique to be just hear us, What?
Mhm.
Who say it's just the human race in the whole universe? And there's millions of planets out there.
And what if they're here, like, warning us, like, some shit's coming down. You
Mhm.
guys need to leave now.
Regardless, everyone has the right to believe whatever they want to believe. I'm a non-believer. Prove me wrong, bitches.
I definitely find that stuff exciting, and I can't say I'm 100% believing it, but I do love thinking. It's like where could it go from there, or how much can we see of it? And I'm sure we could talk about that much more, and its own episode later on other kinds of theories.
Yeah.
We'd all like to wish you the best for 2021, for a better year, for whatever plans that you have, that you can get through them, make them the best that you can. And we also do send our condolences for anyone that you've lost this year, any time that you've lost, or any relationships that have been unfortunately separate from what you were accomplishing before.
Please do continue to stay safe. This is something that we're living with, and it's not going away anytime soon. So even if you are doing activities and stuff, just, keep yourself protected, just to prevent, more heartbreak in the future.
Yeah, guys, I wish you the best also for this year. And I know you can do anything that you put in your mind. And also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Spirit Out Podcast. If you have any topic that would like to touch, just give us a message, and we gladly we work it out.
And to add to that, next week we will be videotaping the episode, so you get to see our expressions and see, what the Spit It Out podcast looks like, the set, and more importantly, the individuals that are part of this. And I've said this many times before. I'm very grateful for the 3 family members I have next to me to make this happen, make this work. And season 2 is going to be a blast. So thank you.